We've got just a short presentation of about 10 or 11 PowerPoint slides that we're going to run through. And once we do that, we're going to open up the floor to you. We want to hear what's on your mind. We want to hear what you think's going well, what you think's not going well. We want to hear what you think our focuses should be going forward. So as we start here, one of the first things we want to talk about is our debt. Because this right here is what drives everything that we do. The handouts that you've got there in front of you shows the 2016 balance sheet, and we've squared off and circled the total debt. It's a little over $69 million, almost $70 million in 2017. That's the actual certified audit that the county paid for, and those audits are about 100 to 110 pages long. They take months to do, and they're about $80,000 to have those records and books audited. And so the official audit shows almost a $70 million debt when we started. In 2018, we lowered that number to $66.5 million. That's on the back page at your 2017 audit. Today, we're down to $46.5 million. You say, well, how'd you get there so fast? If you look at the spreadsheet that we did, it will show you in the upper left-hand corner, you'll see that $70 million, that $69 million total, and it gives you a better breakout of where that debt load is. Because when you look at the balance sheet, the way it breaks the bonds up and the splosh and different things, and some things are what's due within a year, what's due in more than a year, it gets a little confusing. So we put this spreadsheet together to give you a better snapshot of how you tie into that number. And then you'll see the 2017 of where we got down to the 66, we rounded up to $66.5 million, make it easier on the presentation. Then you'll see how much we've paid off in 2018 and how much we have reduced in fiscal year 2019. So our fiscal year starts in October. So that's how you see what the accounting department is giving us and showing we've got this debt down to $46.5 million. If you just take the interest on the debt, if you just took it, $70 million at 3%, you're looking at like $2.1 million a year just in interest. And people say, we're overtaxed. We are. No doubt about it. But we're paying so much interest in debt service. If we didn't have to pay interest on debt, that'd free up $2 million like that. Just unbelievable. So we are focused on eliminating this debt. My goal is to get this debt completely down to zero in about 6 more years. It can be done. And we will be one of the few counties in Georgia that's debt-free. That's where we got to get. Because if we can get a county that's debt-free, it's unlimited the possibilities of what we can do. T-Splosh. Oh, here we go. This way we're patching now. Oh, man.
We are gluing it together, but not like
I saw this on Facebook today. I thought that's pretty cute, so I thought I'd throw it in here. But that's actually the road going up 136 over Taylor's Ridge that cracked open over the weekend. So somebody has photoshopped the glue guide so people watching. But that's a true picture of the road, and everything else has been cropped in. So that's just for fun. But now to serious, talking about our T-Splosh, thank you so much for in November of 2017 saying yes to T-Splosh. Because if we had not have done that, we would be in major, major trouble. Because we wouldn't have had any money to work on roads. And so passing that 1 cent sales tax is generating about $300,000 a month of income. And so the first phase of those projects was to pave Nickajack Road, going over Lookout Mountain. When the state of Georgia, DOT comes to you and tells you that Nickajack Road is the second most dangerous road in the state of Georgia because of the number of wrecks, and then when the state patrol tells you, yeah, when it starts raining, especially if it's just a misting rain, we just automatically head to Nickajack Road because we know there's going to be wrecks. So we had to get Nickajack Road paved as quick as we could. We used T-Splosh dollars to do that. negotiating with the state, they said if we would pave Nickajack Road from top to bottom, that they would come back with a safety grant and would put a surface traction treatment on it. Once it's cured, they want it to set about a year. It would come back and restripe it. After that, put the thermoplastic striping down, put road reflectors down, put all new reflective high-density signage up, help us with the guardrails. About $400,000, 100% paid grant. So if everything goes well, they're supposed to have that done for us this year at some point. But it's state money, state bid, state contractor. So it's kind of out of our control, but they're committed to do that, and it's really going to get us to the next level on safety on that road. And then we did Nickajack Lane, which runs beside the Baptist church there, Chattanooga Valley Baptist Church, and then also Diamond Circle, which is on the north side of Lafayette. Basically, there's one whole lane of that road you couldn't even use at all because it was about that deep because of the sewer lines itself. So, here are the main road paving projects for 2019. These roads and the details of these were uploaded to the state procurement website today. To put these out for bid, we have to give 30 days. And so we will have a bid opening on these March the 28th. And then hopefully you'll be able to get started right away. We've got a little bit of work to do. You see 5 Points Road and Osborne Road on there are two of the worst roads that we've got. But we've got some utility upgrades that we're going to be doing. The Water Authority is supposed to have that done by April 1st. So we've got some small water lines that are old, that we're having a lot of repairs, which is causing some of our road problems because we've got water under the asphalt. We're going to upgrade those to 6-inch lines. And we're going to put fire hydrants in every 1,000 feet on those upgrades. And so you're going to see some activity there starting in the next couple of weeks, weather permitting, to upgrade the water lines on Osborne Road and 5 Points Road to put in the appropriate fire hydrants. So those people that live in that area, if you get within 1,000 foot of a fire hydrant, you should be talking to your insurance company about a reduction in premium on your homeowners. So this is phase 2. So we're going to see how the bids go with this, what our expenditures do, and hopefully we'll be able to do a third phase toward the end of 2019, hopefully by fourth quarter of 2019, because we didn't bond out any of the T-Splosh money. Because it's very expensive to do. You spend a lot of money in legal fees and interest, and so we're paying as we go. So to resurface a mile of road, if it's ready to pave, if you don't have any bad spots in it or any base issues, just to resurface a mile of road, you're going to be looking somewhere around $150,000 a mile. And in many cases, to get that road ready, when you've got a lot of base repair, which we do in most all of our roads, you're going to spend another $100,000 to $150,000 in getting the road ready to pave. And those are just ranges. Depends on how bad it is, how much work's got to be done. So in essence, we've got enough revenue coming in each month to estimate to resurface somewhere between 1 to 2 miles of road revenue stream per month. So let's just call it 2 miles. That's 24 miles a year. We got about 700 miles of road. Well, now you see my dilemma. So all of my 1%ers that are my Facebook critics that like to talk about why we're not paving roads, we're paving them as fast as you're spending money. It's called T-Splosh. So the more sales tax you can generate in Walker County, the faster we're going to be able to pave roads. So I know you can't buy everything in Walker County because we don't have everything. But when you're making buying decisions or you're going to the grocery store, different things, think about, I want to shop local because I want to get my roads fixed. So the faster the money comes in, the faster we can move. But this first slate of roads here is about 22 miles of road. We're spending just about everything that's come in the first year, just on 10 roads. So T-Splosh is great, but we've got a lot of roads in bad shape. Okay, this is a big initiative that we've had over the last 2 years. Code enforcement cases closed in 2018 and 2017, 819 cases where there was a violation, a citation was issued, that there was infraction or a violation into the code, primarily property maintenance, being junk, garbage, these type of things. So code enforcement was very successful because in 2016, they only wrote 262 citations the whole year because everything was just complaint-based. You know, if somebody just kept throwing garbage in the front yard, as long as nobody complained, the county just didn't do anything. So now, we have been going by zones and going parcel by parcel, street by street. And you'll see code enforcement violation, there's 2,326 citations written in 2 years. Now remember, in 2016, so we're running, about say an average of 1,000, just call it 1,000 a year. 2016, they wrote 262 the whole year, based off complaints. So what's happened over a long period of time, basically over a decade here, nothing's been done about really enforcing our codes. And so we come in and say, hey, we've got to change this because our county's starting to look pretty rough. 49 community projects. What we often find is we find property owners that are not physically able to do it. Sometimes it's the dysfunctional family member that left the mess. You know, when Granny comes to the door, we can often tell that she didn't leave that transmission in her front yard. It just wasn't her. So that's real, that happens. Or sometimes maybe somebody's had a stroke. Somebody's had a heart attack. I mean, life happens to us all. So sometimes people had good intentions or had projects and then just life happened to them. So one of the groups that we work with that we're very proud of to call our partner is called P52. And they have coordinated, worked with David Brown, also the last 2 years with Covenant College. Covenant College says all of their incoming freshmen on day one does a community project. In the last 2 years, they've worked with us on day one, and their entire student incoming freshman body comes in and does cleanup projects with us, and they're fabulous. So out of 49 projects where we've taken a need and matched it up with a team of local community people, there's 113 tons of debris and trash and junk that was hauled to the landfill. And these are documented, stamped landfill receipts. Litter control. About 61 tons of litter is picked up off the side of the road per year the last 2 years. This is out of control. We'll go through and we'll clean up a street all the way down to the cigarette butts. We got one full-time employee. We'll go get 3 or 4 inmates every day, and they pick up trash for 8 hours. They're picking up 2,000, 2,500 pounds, a little over a ton a week. All of this is documented. They take it, weigh it, throw it into the landfill or into the transfer station every single week. I think they've been down Mission Ridge Road, Johnson Road, Long Hollow Road, Osborne Road in the last 2 years, probably 12 or 15 times. And I get calls constantly. When are y'all going to pick up the trash on Mission Ridge Road? I went down North Long Hollow Road yesterday, and it looked like a bomb had gone off over there. And I know litter control was just through there probably 5 weeks ago. I don't know what the answer is. And I hope shortly when we get into open discussion, some of y'all can help us. But it's a problem. Tire Amnesty Day. This was something that was a great blessing from the state of Georgia. We started getting reports from our Department of Health through the state about the West Nile virus being in North Georgia. And all surrounding counties, reported cases of West Nile virus, which is carried by mosquitoes. And so when we get to looking around, we see hundreds and hundreds of junk tires laying around. Many people had good intentions. You know, the tire store said, hey, you want your old tires? Yeah, sure. You take them, you stick them out beside the house. 5 years later, you go, why did they keep those? You know, just an honest thing, you just don't think about it. But this grant gave us the ability to cover the cost of disposing of the tire and cover the labor and everything involved to transport those tires to a recycler where they are properly disposed of. So we had an event in 2017 and one in 2018 and got over 12,000 tires that many of you brought to the landfill. And we're still seeing a lot of tires out there, folks. The state has been so impressed with our initiative. What's one that I missed? Where'd Payne Gilly go? I didn't recognize Payne earlier. Payne Gilly is our landfill extraordinary manager. That man right there come in 2017. When did you start? April?
March 6th.
March 6th. Okay, remember I said a while ago we're on a fiscal year starting in October? So when he started in March, you might as well say he was 6 months behind the 8 ball. Landfill was losing $500,000 a year consistently for 16 years. That man right there turned it around in 6 months. Netted $12,000 at the end of September of 2017.
There you go.
Payne was the go-getter on this grant for this tire amnesty. He's worked hard. He's even got the states referring other counties to Walker County to call him and say, how you do this? Because his documentation and detail and all is just perfect. I mean, he brings me a stack of stuff like this. I can't believe it, babe. I mean, we have to write down the size of every tire. I mean, it's detailed. When you get state and federal dollars, they want to know everything. I'm surprised we don't even have to get the serial numbers off of it, right? But we literally, as we offload them, we're having to write down what rim size they are. If it's 13 or 14, 15, whatever. We have to write down that tire size and give them a count of how many 15 inches we had, how many 17 inches we had. So it's a tremendous amount of documentation. Again, the state's been so impressed with what the staff has done with this program and what you as a community has done to respond to this program. In 2019, they have approved us 2 amnesty days. So we're going to be announcing real soon. Have the date's been set?
Tentatively, towards the end of the end of April.
Okay, so we're going to do a spring and a fall event. It'll be on a Saturday. So start gathering up your old tires, because normally if you take a tire to landfill, you're going to spend $4 to $7 to dispose of it per tire. Because that's what it costs us to get rid of it. And so you see, this is a tremendous program. And so please take advantage of it. Blighted structures. Our slogan in 2019 is roads and codes. We got to get our roads paved. We got to get our properties in compliance. There's properties like this all over the county. This is up in Rossville on Park Drive, which is a real nice circle area. Probably 40 or so houses on that circle. Nice little neighborhood. It's an older neighborhood. You can see from the house up on the hill. But it's well kept. It's a nice community, except for this property. The right side is the front of the house, where the front door was. The left side is the back of the house and in the backyard. Code enforcement's been working on this for a couple of years. Documented case. Code enforcement tells us that they estimate there's blighted structures like this in our county. There's probably 300 plus across the county. Some of them are so grown up and so blighted you don't even see them anymore. We went over to one part of the community on the north end of the county. David and I stood in the road. Turn this way, there's 2. We turn this way, there's 2. I said, well, this will be pretty easy. We can just park right here in the middle of the road and just start dumping. So our initiative is, in 2019, we've got to make some changes to our ordinances to get our documentation right. Matt Williamson, our legal counsel, has been working on that. But we're going to start off with 12 of these. These are the worst of the worst. This is a safety hazard. I mean, we've got a couple of young girls over here tonight. I would not want them wandering off into a structure like this. They could fall through the floor. You know, rusty nails, rodents, you name it. It's all bad, it's all there. We've got to get this stuff out of our community. It's devaluing your properties. It's a safety hazard. and how we expect people to want to come and visit our community if stuff looks like this. I had a lady call me 2 days ago. She says that she quit having her family come over for Christmas because she didn't want to have to drive up her road anymore. She's too embarrassed. You know, there's others like that. They're embarrassed for people to come to their house because of what they've got to pass to get there.
What do you have to go through to get rid of something like that?
Can't you find them?
That's what we're working on. What we're going to do, Matt's done a ton of work on this behind the scenes. Is it warm in here to y'all?
I just turned it down, but the
Okay.
heater is actually on, that's.
Oh, that was the problem, okay. What we've done is, these type cases before used to have to go through the state court in Walker County. It was all messed up. Matt worked with the state court, worked with the magistrate court, because code violations should go to magistrate court. So we now have a standing appointment, the first Monday of every month, to go to magistrate court with any county cases that we have. We're going to take the first 12 of these, the worst of the worst, we're going to go to the magistrate court and get the magistrate court to invite these people to court. Called a subpoena. And we're going to let them have their day in court to see if they can explain to the judge why their property looks like that. And then we're going to give the judge an opportunity to see what he can accomplish for us. If people don't show up, don't conform to what the judge wants done, we're going to move to hand the judge an order for him to sign, or she to sign, that would allow the county to go in and tear those structures down, clean the property. And then we'll take and keep up with the cost of that, put a lien back on the property, on the taxes, so hopefully at some point in time to recover that cost. We want to give the property owner first opportunity to do that. And I know the judge is most favorably going to want that done, because these blighted properties are choking us, folks. And so the most expensive way to do anything in your community is to let the government do it. I come from private business. Several of my team members have been in private business. They say government costs more to do everything. So the government tearing these down is not going to be the cheapest way for these people to dispose of these properties. These people, the property owners, need to do it on their own. We put a team together, our Vision 2030 Advanced team, to go back and look at our codes and ordinances that we have on the books. Some of them have been on the books since Commissioner Parrish was in office. There was quite a few changes made back in 2008 when Commissioner Haskell was in office. But we're finding some things in there that's kind of handcuffing, so to speak, code enforcement to be able to clean the community up. And so we have assembled a team of some very bright people to work on this. And one of them's here with us tonight. David Rhodes back here in the back. Throw your hand up, David. David lives up on the north end of the county, and he's been very passionate about the blight in our community for a long time because he sees the problems that it's causing us. So we've asked him to serve on this committee, and I'm sure you recognize some of these other names, which none of them are with us here tonight. But this is a very important group to go and start looking at this. And one of the things that's in question right now, that we're going to have some public hearings on this very topic. The ordinances say now that you can have two old rusty vehicles sitting on blocks basically in your front yard, and you're in compliance. Can't have three, can't have four, but you can have two. And our question is, does that make sense anymore?
No.
But what happens now, if somebody just gets sick and tired of an old, broken down, windows busted, tires, wheels off of it, vehicle sitting in a yard with a tree growing through it, okay, these are real, and they call David in code enforcement, and they go out there and say, hey, sorry, I know you've called and filed this complaint, there's not anything I can do about it. Because there's just one of them, or there's just two of them. The most frustrating one is when they get the call that says, hey, my neighbor's literally taking green garbage bags, throwing them out their front door with their household garbage in it. And the rats and the rodents and all are in it, the cats. And you get out there and count. There's 5 bags, that's under the limit. As long as there's not more than 8. I'm serious, folks, you can't make this stuff up. And so these are the problems and why code enforcement goes out and tries to do their job and their hands are kind of tied, because the codes don't really reflect where we want to go into the future. And so that's why we put this team together to say, hey, look at this. We want a cross-section of our community of intelligent people that come from different backgrounds to look at this and make recommendations of how we need to go forward into the future and what we want our county to look like in 2030. All right, Walker Rocks. Robert's handed all of you, or most of you, a sticker about Walker Rocks. This was Robert's mastermind concept. I give Robert a great big marketing budget. Tony, Robert, you've got to come up with a marketing plan. And he said, all right, how much I got? I said, you got 0. You got no money, we're broke, remember?
We didn't need any money.
We ain't no money.
You just gotta use that noggin, all of us together.
When you got a mastermind like Robert, he comes in one day, he says, I got it. I said, what's that? He said, Walker Rocks. And I'm thinking, he stayed up too late. You know, I'm telling you, I was a little slow coming around, folks. He just kept talking about it. And he engaged our partners at the Chamber of Commerce. And they really thought he'd lost a couple of nights' sleep at the Chamber. They were like, what in the world is he talking about? But since then, this logo has been developed, and I know it's probably hard to see, but it shows a person on a kayak, it shows a person on a bicycle, a hang glider, mountain climber. And we're talking about all the things you can do in Walker County that don't cost you really anything. All the natural beauty that we have. The caving, the hiking, the bicycling, the water sports, all these different things that we've got in Walker County that people in Atlanta and Nashville and Knoxville, they just go, wow, look at what y'all got. You don't realize what you have. It's almost like when somebody comes through that's never been in the South before and he drives through the National Military Park and they go, whoa. And we drive through it every day and go, nah, it's been there all my life. You know, we just don't really think about it. Well, they see the natural beauty of Walker County the same way. Put it in concept and comparison. We started a county Facebook page in January 2017. We just got over the 7,000 follower mark. Robert started this in June and he's already over 5,000 followers. I mean, it's incredible. 45 countries represented that's following what's going on in Walker County. People that's wanting to come here. I mean, we got some of the deepest caves in the country. Joe's created 8 videos. We've already seen a sales tax revenue increase. To get too cool in here now? Probably get a little too cool, Joe. Keep Joe good.
I know how to work in here.
Increased bookings at Mountain Cove Farms. Okay, Mountain Cove Farms, in 2016, there was 162 book night stay. 162. In 2017, it was 525. So we went from 162 to 525. 2018, 908. Folks, that just doesn't happen. To go from 162 in 2 years to go to 908. So number one, that shows you there's a great team down there. We get a lot of repeat business. We get a lot of positive reviews on the booking sites. And Chattanooga Times Free Press, from people voting, I didn't even think about it. We wasn't even soliciting votes. Just named Mountain Cove Farms as the best of the best wedding venues for North Georgia. Just last week. Joe went, the staff from the Mountain Cove went and received the award. Walker Rocks got the best marketing campaign for 2018 through the historic high country. I knew this organization existed, but I've never been to one of their meetings. I don't know if Robert, if you've ever been to one of their meetings. We didn't know they give awards. We're just working, folks. We're working for you every day to turn the Titanic around and plug the holes. It's called potholes, right? We're plugging holes every day, folks. Trying to turn this thing around. They gave us the 2018 Award of Excellence for the best marketing campaign for Walker Rocks. So I think we owe Robert a hand on that one. want to double his budget next year.
Get into there for just
Sure,
a
go
moment,
right
talk about Walker Rock, because I want to.
He's passionate about this, folks.
I do want to explain, because everyone in this room can be an advocate for this. I want to make a very quick business case. We're having fun with it. It is fun. If you go on the website, you'll see there's a lot of fun in there, because we're talking about fun things. But in here, this is kind of a business meeting tonight. I want to talk to you about the business end of this. The fun, we love it. But the point here is to bring people here to visit things so that they spend money here on things that we don't have to buy or build, because we don't have any money. But we do have beautiful places worth seeing. So the point of Walker Rocks, and you got these people in 45 different countries, and this isn't smoke and mirrors, these are hard numbers. 45 different countries, and they're communicating with me and Joe and Lacey Wilson at the Chamber of Commerce saying, this is fascinating. We're going to bring a crew from Brazil. We're going to bring a crew from Brussels, Belgium. We're coming from France to go to Petitjean Cave. This kind of stuff. They're loving it. When they spend money, it raises the stream of sales tax revenue from people that are visiting. And every time we raise this, guess what comes down? The pressure on property taxes that we're all paying. We can't raise the property taxes anymore. We've got to do sales tax. And I really genuinely ask you, please talk to people about this. If you're on the Facebook, like it, but also go out there and please just pass it on to your friends and say, hey, take a look at it. The ones out of town, especially. That's who we're targeting. Out of town people are coming to these communities. Thank you for the time.
Very good point. There's a faith-based group that's going to have an international convention in Atlanta, Georgia later this year. They're chartering buses to come to Mountain Cove Farms for lunch. For 800 people. And so they've got people coming from all over the world, multiple languages, multiple cultures. They're going to see where God created Pigeon Mountain and Lookout Mountain come together. They want to see that. And they want to have lunch on the grounds. And I said, I don't know if we got a big enough place. The barn's only so big. I said, we just need permission to set big tents up. We'll handle everything. We'll bring in extra porta potties. As we know the restroom facilities, we're going to overwhelm it. I said, we'll take care of everything. We just want to make sure we're welcome to come. A lot of these people will stay a week or two after the convention because they've made the journey, thousands of miles. Many of them will venture back up into this area and into Chattanooga as tourists after the convention. So just things like that is promoting our community. And so like Robert said, we get people to come in from all over the world to see what we have, our hidden treasures here. And we're going to love them all as they spend money and they stop at our stores and stop at buy gas and all these things and hug them and love them and say, thank you for leaving your money behind. Please come back soon. Okay, Jeff? Okay, we've got a couple of videos here we're going to show you. These are only about 2 minutes. And so we want you to...
Hi, I'm Joe McGee, and welcome to How Walker Works.
An inside look at how government operates here in Walker County, Georgia. While most people associate Walker County Fire Rescue with fighting fires and emergency response, the department also actively works to prevent fires.
Because we want to save lives. I mean, that's just the bottom line. We want to save property, but we want to save lives.
Along with visits to schools and community events, building inspections, and safety training for local businesses, this county department also offers a free residential smoke alarm program.
We're going to go out to your home. We're going to do a home safety survey, and we're going to make sure you don't have any hazards in your house, and we'll put in the smoke alarms they need. It's that easy.
Smoke alarms are given out and installed for free. There are no income restrictions. You just have to make the call to receive a potentially life-saving device.
If you need them, we'll come install ours. If you have them, if you can afford to buy them and you have them, we'll come install them for you. If you don't need to climb on a ladder because you're elderly, we'll do that for you. 5 fire-related fatalities occurred in Walker County in 2018.
Fire investigators did not find working smoke alarms where those deaths occurred.
The ones we have are good for 10 years. They have a sealed battery. You don't have to change the battery. All you have to do is push the button once a month and test them and make sure they're working. If your smoke alarms aren't working, you may as well not have them.
Walker County firefighters installed 228 smoke alarms in 2018. If you need one, make the call. Dial 706-539-1255. The life you save may be your own. I'm Joe LeGee. Be sure to check out WalkerCountyGA.gov for other How Walker Works features and county information.
See, when you got a Joe LeGee, he did all of that production and video in-house at the commissioner's office. Channel 3 and Channel 9 don't have anything on us. Fabulous job. A couple of points I want to mention about this video, and on your flyer, your single 8.5 by 11, there's the phone number and talks a little bit more about these smoke alarms. But one of the things he talked about, there was 5 fire deaths in houses in Walker County in 2018. There was 81 across the state. There's 159 counties. So 5 of the fire deaths in Walker County could have been prevented possibly if there had been working smoke alarms. 4 of those deaths were on one street, Dry Valley Road. And this left picture here is some of our team members and some volunteers from the Red Cross and other volunteers getting together about 3 Saturdays ago, going up and down Dry Valley Road, literally knocking on doors, saying, do you have smoke alarms? It's that important to us, folks. I think the video said it was 228 installed in 2018 for the year. We got these smoke alarms donated by a grant through the Red Cross. We have doubled and quadrupled our efforts this year. And already to date, as of today, we've installed 218 just in 2019. It's that important to us. These first responders, they'll come to you. You dial 911, they're going to be there. But they don't want to zip the bag, folks. So make sure you've got working smoke alarms. If you don't, do not hesitate. Call that number. They'll come out and place them where they need to be. They're good for 10 years, won't cost you a dime. It's that important, so please help us pass the word. We got another video here we're going to show you.
No, just make a comment on that.
Yes.
I just want to thank you for this because I took advantage of that. Regina herself came out and her helper, maybe it was her husband, I don't know, and they surveyed my house and they put 3 of them in, no cost. It was phenomenal.
Yes. Thank you for calling. And yes, Regina's a rock star.
Yeah.
I went down to the fire marshal's office last week and walked in the door just unannounced, and they're all looking, what's the commissioner doing here? I said, I just come to see the rock star. Now this is Joe again. I want y'all to notice, he's standing in the rain, and he's his own camera guy too. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Skip it.
I'm Joe LeGee.
And welcome to How Walker Works, an inside look at how government operates here in Walker County, Georgia. Walker County has a new and improved method for the public to receive emergency and community notifications. The Siren GPS app can send your smartphone a notification in a matter of seconds during times of bad weather or other community concerns or interests.
Well, our primary use of this notification system is going to be for emergency situations. We also have the capability through this to geofence or draw a map around a certain area that will notify just that area of water outage or power outage or road closure.
Here's how it works. Siren GPS will only send you one alert. So if you receive the app notification, the system checks you off as being notified. 60 seconds later, Siren GPS will send a text message to those who still need to be alerted. This will help us notify those with flip phones. 60 seconds after that, anyone in our system who still needs to receive the alert will get a phone call. This will keep those with landlines in the loop and significantly reduce the time it takes for everyone to be notified.
We're concentrating on trying to limit the landline usage because of the infrastructure that we have is what's causing the current delay. So this new delivery with an app push is going to be key to the success of this notification system.
Remember, you will only receive one notification, so you don't have to worry about being missed or receiving the same message 3 times. Download Walker County's Siren GPS app today and be the first to know. Be sure to check out walkercountyga.gov for other How Walker Works features and important county information.
On your 8.5 by 11 sheet shows a picture of the cell phone. That's the step-by-step instructions of how to download this app. Second, the smoke alarms. This is the most important thing we need you to take away from here tonight to make sure you get signed up. The old system that's been in the county for 5 years called HyperReach was all a robocall. And 5 years ago in the technology, that was the best there was. But we've gone and have seeked out the best of technology. And Blake, Hodge, and Joe spent a lot of time on this, talking with different vendors, testing different products. Because before we had about 22,000 of you signed up on the old system to get the robocall. So when a tornado would come through, some of you would get it before the tornado, and some of you would get it when the sun come back out. Okay, and that just don't cut it. And so we wanted a system that we could get things to you quicker. The best of technology is your cell phones, smartphones that have the apps, whether it be a Google phone or an Apple phone. They were telling us as an example, we can take and push out 50,000 notices in less than 10 seconds. And so if you don't respond to the push notice, and 60 seconds later, it's going to send you a text message. 60 seconds later, if you don't respond, it's going to send you an email. 60 seconds later, if you don't respond, you're going to get the robocall. So when you get that notice, you want to, open it up and view it. It sends a signal back that you've seen it. So please, some of you say, hey, I don't have a cell phone. I don't have a smartphone. The phone number's on there to call Tina at the commissioner's office, and she can manually sign you up so you can get that robocall at your home or on your flip phone or whatever you have. So we don't want anybody to be excluded. This technology covers the full scale of communication. So please sign up for this. It's at no cost to you. This is your tax dollars at work. We want to notify you instantly. It's tied into the National Weather Service, so there's no delay. Automatically, if the National Weather Service puts out any type of alerts in this area, which I think there was 3 this weekend, it's going to automatically put that out to you, and you're going to have that within 10 seconds. So it's phenomenal. So please sign up. That was our last slide. So now we want to hear what's on your mind. We appreciate you coming out. We know that you have things of concern or things of interest to you, good or bad. This is our 8th and final community meeting that we've had. This is probably the 2nd largest group that we've had. So I'm sure there's a lot that's on your mind. So who wants to go first? Yes, sir, in the back.
I just want to mention over in Fieldstone Farms, and I don't know if you've heard about Deer Ridge Lane. Over there, it's maybe 5 houses long. It's the only road over there that goes behind the house. Yeah. And it's chewed up like, I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed to have anybody come over.
Yeah, I've rode over there a couple of times and looked at that, and it is a problem. What we're trying to focus on these first couple of rounds of our T-Splosh is to get the main thoroughfares and the main roads as far as full reclamation and full paving. But we do have it on our list to get over there and dig out some of those soft spots and do some patching.
Yeah, the only reason excuse me for interrupting, but when you back out where I'm at, it scrapes underneath of your car. And then a lot of people, they don't know, they'll come up there, they don't know, and they'll scrape,
Yeah, that subdivision's not that old.
No, it's
and I think
not.
the original developers just didn't get it spec'd right.
And then my neighbor diagonally across from me in the back, he backs up, his bumper will run into where it's pushed up that high. I think it's from that huge, when we had the smaller garbage trucks.
That's what's doing it.
It's a huge garbage truck.
It's these tandem garbage trucks.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing, I'm all about free enterprise and free business, but as you're selecting your garbage haulers, if your roads are getting tore up and are starting to wear and get down into the base, look at what kind of garbage trucks are going up and down your road and who your vendors are.
Can we talk about those garbage trucks for a minute?
Let's do it. I know you've been anxious.
You don't know the half. I see you, Mr. Brown and the sheriff and everything. Who was that talking about the road? That garbage truck you see is a real garbage truck. Now, the road is a problem. It's a problem for you and it's a problem for him too.
Right.
But that litter problem that you've got, we've got, we have some litter bugs, folks. But you could eliminate 80 to 90% of that stuff in a heartbeat. The ones that are driving them raggedy old pickup trucks with a chicken wire up the side and the sign down there says pull your tarp, but they don't until they get to the dump. They don't have a license. They're not inspected. They're free to do whatever they want to do, and they're people are paying them to carry their garbage halfway to the dump, which is about where I am. If you go down any of those roads that lead to the dump, and Mr. Brown, your crew that came and cleaned up North Marble Top did a great job. Less than 2 days later, same thing again. So, you know, it's not people driving their cars throwing stuff out. It's wholesale littering. When I talked to the sheriff, he said that his people have to see it happen. Well, they got other things to do too. But if the very first thing was that they had to have a license, and the second thing was that they had to have the trucks inspected, you would eliminate most of it. And it's not fair to those guys that spend $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 on real garbage trucks for a guy in an '88 Ford pickup. Part of the litter is stuff flapping off his truck.
I didn't hear your full answer on it, I'm sorry. What was about Deer Ridge?
About what now?
Is it on the list, but?
Your road, you have to do the patching, yes.
I mean, is it gonna take 2 years to get out there? Or?
I would say when we get some good weather and get more into the middle of the spring.
Because if you wait 2 years, it'll just
Oh,
be
yeah,
a dirt road,
But back up here to you, I totally agree with you.
Well, wait a minute.
But here's what we need. We need everybody like-minded that agrees 100% with you, because what's gonna happen, we can start that process.
Commissioner, I don't want to embarrass you, but I emailed you some time ago. Your response to me was you didn't have time for it.
I never said I didn't have time for you.
That's what you put. You said you were too busy. I appreciate that. And I went to see Mr. Brown, but he was out working somewhere, and I didn't get to talk to him.
But the thing is, what's gonna happen, we put procedures and policies in place for these type trucks you're talking about, which is a problem. And some of you are gonna see your garbage provider is gonna leave.
Mine's not.
Okay, some will. So that's where we need y'all to stand in the gap and say, some of them need to leave,
They do need to leave.
because it's littering our roads.
It's pitiful.
And so, we need people like you to continue to advocate and speak up about that, because when we go and put those requirements in place, because there's already, I can tell there's already some of that that's already on the books that's not been enforced in how many years?
Well,
probably a decade.
It wouldn't be hard, if they need to see it happen, it wouldn't be hard to do. Come sit on Garrett's Chapel or Marble Top on Saturday.
really?
Yeah.
And anyone take a video when you guys live around there?
Obviously, you don't drive those roads. You're from Lafayette, right? Lafayette?
No, Chickamauga, I'm from around
You
here.
live around here?
I can almost walk on.
Take 27 and go down 27, you don't have to see all that stuff over there by mine. You know, they're complaining about Chickamauga Creek trash up there. Do you read the paper about that? You know where that's coming from? It's coming from our gutters.
Yeah, a lot of it, for sure.
Really? Now, going back to your response to me, with that you're busy, what can I do to help you? Because something's got to be done about that. And everybody here in this room should agree.
Can you set up a camera and submit it?
Well, what he's talking about is to have enforceable codes, policies in place, where you have inspection and permitting process for these commercial haulers that are in business for hauling waste. And it's not uncommon in other communities, and I think there's already some documentation to work from now that was probably never been enforced. But
And the garbage pipe.
we're not afraid to go there, but I just want y'all to be with us that when we do,
Yeah.
we're gonna be on the 6 o'clock news.
If I took a picture of him carrying it,
Yeah.
that's gonna be anything.
Yes, sir, right here.
Because his people have to see it happening.
One question that I want to ask, and maybe the question will have a side result. First of all, I own some rental property on Indian Avenue in Rossville. There's been one of those burned out houses there going on a year. I get my taxes, they go up every year. How long is it gonna take with all of the verbiage that's been said tonight? How long is it gonna take to get that house cleaned out of there? People are now starting to dump on there. My tenants say this is going from bad to worse in the neighborhood. Your speech tonight is very good, but it said what we need, but it didn't say how we're gonna get there, or at least I didn't hear it. How long is it gonna take for ordinances or laws or whatever, or enforcement? How long is it gonna take to get that thing, that almost a year now? And you wanna know what? It'll be there for another year, in my opinion.
Okay, as far as the process to get started,
Jim, what's the question?
Indian Avenue, there's a blighted property on Indian Avenue in Rossville. We've got a public hearing, right, Joe, it's on the agenda, for this Thursday night. And I would invite all of you that are passionate about this issue to come and speak publicly about the proposed changes that's going to start addressing some of these issues, because we need the public support. So to be at the Annex 3 building in Lafayette, so right off the town, right there on the corner of the town is the Bank of Lafayette. It's one of the largest buildings. About a half a block down on the left is the Annex 3 building. It's referred to as the Old Kitchens Clinic building. We've renovated that and made a courtroom out of it. And so we have our first public hearing for people to talk about the proposed changes, to start making some of these changes of some of these code problems we have, to start working to do everything that we need to do on the blighted issues. So you can come and speak and, on that behalf.
Speaking is fine.
And so it takes,
How long will it take in your opinion?
we have to have 2 public hearings. It's gonna take us 30 days from now to get these ordinances, get some of these ordinances moving. Then, on the blighted structures, we're gonna take those, start 12 at a time so we don't overwhelm the court system, and we're gonna keep 12 in the hopper all the time to start working on this. And we're hoping that we can gradually add to that as time goes forward, to be working more than 12 cases at a time. Now, one of the things too, if I'm not mistaken, Indian Avenue is in the city, right? So we are working with our city partners as well, but they've got a little, since it's in the incorporated city area, they've got to go through their own legal process. But they have recently passed some new ordinances about cleaning up the city of Rossville and the blighted and the junk as well. So we're hoping, all at the same time, we're all moving forward on this. So 2019 is our focus for code enforcement and roads. So I think, Matt, you had something you wanted, or Robert, you wanted to add?
No, I think both of them.
Go ahead.
Just to give you a bit more definitive of an answer, sir, because the city of Lafayette has actually done an initiative where they have put a number of these properties through this clean and lean process. Our 2030 advanced team that you heard about earlier had David Hamilton, the city manager of Lafayette, come and speak to us last week. And we asked him a number of questions about the timeline for moving properties through the judicial system in order to get the actual demolition done and the lien on the property. His response to us, and Mr. Roden can help me out with this if I'm off a bit, was in an ideal world it would be about 12 to 15 weeks from the time that you send out, the time that you identify the property to the time where actual work is done. The actual demolition process only takes 1 to 2 days. but those 12 to 15 weeks involve sending out, well, first of all, identifying people with an ownership interest in the property, which some cases would be easier to do, other cases more difficult to do, making sure that everyone with an ownership interest in the property is notified properly as per specified in the statute. And then once that happens, then you take it to the court system and you identify how this particular property meets the legal definition of blight and how that property is a health and safety problem. Once you prove that to the court issues an order. The person or the people with ownership interest in the property have a certain number of days to respond to the court order or to take action themselves under the order of the judge. If they don't, then the county can come back and say, Your Honor, nothing has happened on this property. This is a vital interest to the community that we resolve this issue. Would you please authorize the county to go and conduct self-help in this case? And once the county makes our case to the judge that time, that's when the county can go in. So it's a belabored process, but the intent behind the statute is to make sure that we, as a government, can't just come in and demo somebody's property. I wouldn't want that. You all certainly wouldn't want that. And so there are protective measures in there to prevent us from doing that. Unfortunately, that does slow the process down.
Okay, but yes, you're right. You wouldn't want to see the government run roughshod over our rights. But this house has been, and that picture that you had up there, it was typical of what we have on Indian Avenue. Point being, you have youngsters there. There's folks that maybe would like to live somewhere else other than on Indian Avenue. But that's where they live, that's where they're raising a family. This is kind of tough on the people that are there. Every day you walk out, you just visualize walking out of your front door and seeing something like this. And then you get, there's been, I think, last year, the police picked up 3 dead bodies of derelicts on Indian Avenue. You talk about 45 countries coming to visit Walker County. What are they going to see when they want to bring them back? And that's a lot of good things, but there's a lot of bad things. And what I hear is the typical slowness and the red tape of the politics of the situation.
I appreciate your passion on that, and believe me, there are a lot of other people who are very passionate about this issue. The reason why, and I don't say this as a way of being defensive about it, this is just by way of explaining the ordinances that we've had on our books so far. If we were to, in many cases, go out and issue citations under our current ordinances, that would not be enough to resolve the problem because of the fine structure under the ordinances could be such that in many cases these people wouldn't even come to court. They would plead guilty, pay their fine, and nothing would happen.
But if the fine's high enough, that'd get their attention.
That's correct. Well, the other thing that our 2030 advanced team is looking at and will begin considering are other alternatives to the clean and lean structure, such as a blight tax, which other counties and other municipal organizations have also put into place.
Give me a $500 ticket, that'd get my attention real quick.
Yes, sir. Once you start attaching people's assets and going after the pocketbook aggressively, you start seeing much bigger things.
That's not excessive at that point, it's just repetitive.
Well, the court system fines, yes.
When do you anticipate that you work these ordinances out where we have this process to where we get to 12 in the hopper? I think that would go a long way to answering the gentleman's question. When do we anticipate that system will be in place?
As soon as the ordinance goes into effect, the intent of the administration, my understanding is that we've already got 12 of the worst cases
So we're not
selected.
ready to go.
Right.
So
And
we
so-
begin immediately when that ordinance takes.
And when do you anticipate that ordinance is gonna be in place?
Joe will help, because he runs the ads, but the ads have, we run the ad, we're having 2 public hearings, and then we have to.
All the ads have actually run, so
Okay.
we've actually started the process. The first public hearing will be Thursday night, and then there will be another public hearing, it's March 14th, so
Okay.
the first meeting in March.
So then March
And then
14th, and then after that.
After that, they can sign it.
So possibly in April, we would be able to have this system in place where we start with the 12 worst of the worst, right?
Yes,
It's very doable that.
Yeah, that's what, I think that's what we're trying to get to, right? Is when are we gonna start with the 12 and then the next 12 and then the next 12? And it sounds like April-ish.
That's correct.
Okay, I think
That's correct.
that's what we wanna know.
That we identified this issue as one of our priority items at the beginning of the year. So what we've been doing up to this point is just looking at other ordinances that we could use, modifying them to our county, our needs, our culture, and then arriving at a finished product that was suitable for us to put through for the commissioner's signature.
And understanding that the county can't step in until the incorporated, I'm gonna say village, but city has gone and done something first.
No, ma'am. It depends on who has jurisdiction over the property. If the property lies in the city, for example, Lafayette has one of these ordinances already on its book. If the property is in the city, then the city has jurisdiction. And if it has adopted an ordinance like the one that we are going to adopt, then they can put it to their municipal court. They don't have to go through the magistrate court system. And then, once they work it, again, on that 12 to 15-week time period, then they can move forward.
But those 12, are they within any of these city limits, or are they all county?
They're all
I only do counties, only what we can do. But our cities, we're understanding, are gonna be moving with us and doing likewise within the incorporated city areas. Lafayette started on this a couple of years ago when they cleaned up many properties. And Matt brings a lot of experience to the table because when he was in private practice, he was working for the firm that represents the city. He's handled a lot of these type cases already, so he brings a lot of value to our county to be able to start this process. And that's why he looked at our current ordinances and said, we're gonna get our hat handed to us. We don't have the right documentation in place to give the judge what he needs to see this thing through, to give us those orders that we're looking for. And so that's the slow process we're in. But also too, personal property rights is very important because you don't want your government to have too much control or power, okay? So there's a balance here. And that's why the state law says we have to have these public hearings. We have to put this stuff in the paper. We have to do these procedures and go before the judge because you want that check and balance. You don't want somebody just walking in one day and saying, we're gonna bulldoze something down. Yeah, Tom?
There's a lot of passion about the garbage, the roads. I know a lot of people that here, it causes that. And the trash in the yards is not being cleaned up. And so it looks like the county could issue citations and take care of some of that. I mean, they drive by it every day. But
There was almost 2,400 issued the first 2 years.
I like to see more of y'all get busy. But I want to tell you, there's something that you can do. You've had a lot of water. This water's running right down the roads, and it's not going into the ditches. County used to take a grader and go along and clean off the edge of the road, but they haven't done that.
You're right, that's something that we've got to get back doing, is clipping those road shoulders so the water will disperse and not be standing in the road. But it's hard on the road, you're 100% correct.
Shannon, Mayor, real quick.
Sure.
Here, I want to go back to what you're talking about now, because that's the point that the case is clear as far as we're concerned, that we need stronger ordinances to enforce blighted property. We don't need to be sold on that idea. But remember, we're here representing everyone. And most everybody in this room, I bet if we just said show of hands, who all's for not much tolerance of blighted property, everybody in here is gonna say yes. But the point Shannon was making earlier that I don't think it was heard, is that when we have these public meetings, you can bet your neighbors are gonna be in there saying, you keep your hands off of my property. If I wanna stack them to the sky, that's my business. And if it's, I guess, easy to come to a meeting and say, get it done now. What are you doing? Quit waiting. But we need you there so bad when these hearings come, when these public hearings happen. We need you there to say, we support this action. Because do remember, we're representing everyone, not just who's in this room. And so it's not really a political slow that we're seeing here. It's a pragmatic and legal right. I'll call it doing it right. I'd rather be a little bit slower and right than to be quickly wrong. And we are with you to do this. I'm telling you, if you're thinking, oh, these guys are kind of, dressed in fancy, coming in here just talking, watch what is about to happen. And you'll start saying, oh, okay, I see. But we've got to have you, friends. We have got to have you, because there is going to be a lot of people say no. And if you sit there and go, ooh, now the bullets are flying, now I think I'll back down, we're going to be standing up here and we're going to look absolutely unrepresentative of the people. Because remember, it's not Shannon and my business. We're not running a business. We're working for your business. You've got to support us. I would ask you don't have to do it, but please be vocal. If it's the hearings or the social media, if you feel strongly about backing us up as we go enforce these codes, please help us if we do.
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Back to the garbage thing, over on Hart Switch Road, they used to clean the ditches. They don't do that, or they haven't done it in a while. Are they gonna start doing that again? Because when it rains so much, those ditches over there are so full that the trash and stuff that people are littering, it's just like running out into the road and everything else.
You can't see the ditch for the leaves, the garbage and
Well,
everything.
they made note of both of those roads, and so we'll have the public works clean those out.
And then that old Peerless, I know it's not in Chickamauga, but it's still part of Walker County. Is there anything that's taking place to take care of all that? Where all those homeless people and stuff are living up there in that old building?
I'll let Robert, since he's been engaged in our economic development, I'll let him speak.
There's a new plan from a new ownership group there, and there is positive movement going on in Peerless. It is not a government action at all. But I do work with these private people as your representative to keep them in compliance with what we're doing and to share and support and cheerlead their efforts. I think you're going to be very excited about what these private individuals are about to do over there. But I'm not making that promise to you because, again, these are private people. I can't speak for them, but they're talking to me regularly about what their plans are. And they're sharing that to them confidentially at the moment because they're trying to get all their ducks in a row of exactly how they want to make it. But they've got some grand plans that I approve of 100%.
Well, I know my son's company leases part of that. And when he has to go there
Is
to
that the
work.
Prater or?
Yes.
Really?
You know.
Congratulations. Do y'all know what this Prater, this is one of the most prestigious businesses in Walker County and hardly anybody knows about it.
The reason he was wondering is because they've had issues with the homeless people there. You know, even though it is gated at night and stuff, they still find a way to get in there. And so,
I understand the question. We'll help in that regard however we can, but it is private property, and that's important to know that. I don't want to stick my foot in my mouth there. I think your son's about to be really happy.
Well,
let's say, he is a superstar in this county right now, and the new owners are lauding his actions over there.
well, he's gave us bits and pieces, but he said that they know a little bit of what's gonna happen, but he said that they're not at liberty to say.
I'm not gonna
We're not gonna spill the beans. Yes, sir.
We're all said that
All right, right here on the front.
Yeah, so you can see me in the back there. Two things. One, thank you very much for the progress that you made and the curve that we've had to come around. And then second, this is gonna sound terrible, but I love our landfill. I know that sounds bad. I'm there all the time, and that sounds bad, it sounds even worse. But we do have a clean yard. I live right here in Chickamauga in town, and you guys do a great job. Your personnel there, your folks at the house, they do a fantastic job, and I really, really appreciate it. But the main thing that I want to say tonight is we have a property here. We're talking about blighted properties. We have a property here that is not making progress, and that is the Crystal Springs. It is a blight upon our town. And if we want people coming here, and our bicyclists and our campers and all those folks, that has got, something's got to happen with that. That has been like that now for several years. And can you give us an update on the progress of that?
I don't know, I looked over there this morning as I drove through after taking our little boy to school, and I saw some activity and some equipment and things that have been brought in, but I know it's been extremely slow, and it is a work in progress, and I don't think there's anybody here from the city tonight that would have any more updates on that. But, and that is inside the city limits, as you know, but it does affect our entire community. It is definitely an eyesore and a tremendous safety hazard. It really is. Yes,
I
ma'am.
looked up the article in the News Free Press about the mill. It was 2014, May 2014, and the estimated time to bring that mill down was 2 years. We are 5 years in. I have a relative that lives in, I think, one of the most beautiful cities in Georgia, Savannah, and he came through and he saw the condition of Chickamauga. And he certainly had some disappointing comments.
It's definitely a problem, and fortunately, there is action that has been taken, but I know they've gone through a couple of different companies that were salvaging the material out of there, so it's been a roller coaster for the
Shannon, what
property
can we
owners.
do as citizens of Chickamauga to voice our opinion on that? Do we need to go to the city?
Yes, you need to talk to your city council, city manager and stuff, and start letting them know how you feel about
Yeah,
that.
that's really.
Yes, sir.
That equipment, that's our all
Yeah, it has. And I saw some a newer type of equipment over there today, and a couple of trucks that I've not seen there all winter. But you're right, some of it's been sitting for months.
All I see is about 8 or 10 people working. That's not going to like
It's concerned. Yes, ma'am.
This is unrelated.
It's all right.
Somebody else.
No, go ahead.
What about the water treatment plant? You know,
The water treatment.
That are parked over there filtering it out for us. Long term, we have any kind
We've got some real challenges with our water and sewer system. And water and sewer is a little bit unique in Walker County because there's 9 systems that service Walker County, 9 individual entities. So what she's referring to is the Walker County Water and Sewer Authority, which has one of their facilities is right here on this road where you've got the water tanks just about a block down. This is where we had the problem back in mid-2017 when the well come under the influence of surface water. So we have brought in trailers to be able to filter that water, which is very expensive to do. It was the only option we had to keep you from having to boil your water any longer than you had to. Those trailers will filter about 1 million gallons per day. So we needed 2 of them. But we're filtering 2 million gallons a day out of this well. Those trailers are $30,000 a month each. And so the board and the staff has been working with the engineering firm, our well company that we work with, and also the EPD. And 2 weeks ago, we got the letter from the EPD to move forward on an attempted well repair. And so they're supposed to start on that in about 4 weeks. They had other jobs lined up in front of us. So we're rolling the dice and going to attempt a well repair to try to do away with the surface water getting into the well. This is an area where having the state EPD as a partner is critical, because we don't have the staff, the expertise, or the knowledge to know when it's fixed. And so they are guiding us, telling us step by step what we need to do, working with a local engineering firm to tell us exactly the procedures and all the testing that we'll do afterwards to see if we're clean and safe, and we can validate that through third-party analysts and all the things we're going to do. So it's probably going to be about a 6 to 9 month more process to go through all these hurdles, which I welcome. I'm glad EPD is there and they've got a department that can guide us on this. Who's next? Yes, ma'am.
Do you have anything in the works for bringing in any kind of new industry into Walker County? I know there
Yes,
chicken
we'll let Robert
plant
talk
at
about
one
it.
point, different things.
Robert loves to talk about it.
I do love to talk about that, because the answer directly to your question, then I'd like to provide a little context around it. Right now, there are 7 prospects that we're engaged with, and when you're talking through with the state, and sometimes they come through state, and then site selectors come in, there are 7 projects available right now that are considering whether we would win, in their eyes, the ability for them to locate in Walker County. What I do want to visit with you about is a little different approach that Shannon and I take to representing you business-wise. We are both private business people. My background is in the Coca-Cola company. Shannon is a business owner as well. We both do not believe that giving away public assets in order to get a photo op and say, look what I did. You know how people, you see this all the time. Well, they gave away all your taxes and they gave away everything just to look good standing in a picture. And we want to look good standing in a picture, but we want to do it because it was done properly. And so the business of economic development is very much a business of no, 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 yes. So when the yes hits, it's got to be right. And when I talk about not giving away the farm, what I mean is that when these folks come in, the very first question they're asking is, what's the quality of your education system? Okay? And then the very next thing they say is, we want you to abate our school tax, property taxes. We don't want to pay any taxes to support the very education
And we don't want to
that
either.
you demand.
Every one of them.
So what Shannon and I said to one another and vowed to one another is, and bless his heart, he's backed me to the hilt so far. We're telling him up front, if abating school taxes is what makes you want to come here, I hug them, shake their hand respectfully and tell them, that ain't gonna work here for us. The school tax part of it is about, 63%, I think, of the total amount of collected property taxes. There are some incentives that are absolutely appropriate to bring the right kind of jobs at the right wages. Some incentives sometimes are perfect. But we're not abating school taxes. We're just not going to do it. And so those 7 that we're talking to, I hope that you'll have confidence that I am out there representing you thoughtfully, not to try to get pictures in the paper about what we brought in here that we gave away the farm to get. So,
If we were looking for companies to come in that pay $10, $11 an hour, and we'd give them the land, get it pad ready, and give them free taxes, we could have that industrial park full.
Oh, yeah.
But we're not looking for more $10, $11 an hour jobs. We're looking for companies that's going to come in and elevate the job wages, and that realizes the value of being in this part of the country, in this part of the state, and the assets that it brings, and the workforce and the education. Our school system has done a phenomenal job. And they'll be the first to tell you they still got work to do. They're not quit. But about probably 15 years ago, I was involved in a group called Communities in Schools. And our main focus was, as a community group, was to support our schools to try to maintain the graduation rate above 50% in Walker County. It had been that long ago. Now, our school system in Walker County is graduating students, and they're well over 90%, which is phenomenal. When we talk to industries that are global companies, okay, that come in privately and have private conversations with Robert and I, when they hear that, you're over 90% graduation rate, their eyes light up. They see that. They don't find that everywhere, folks. That's something we have. And they start hearing more about the port in Murray County, be able to get their goods and services through an inland port. What's going on in Savannah. So everything that's going on in Georgia is having an impact. And we're getting a lot of people looking and kicking tires, but we want those right partners. So when there's an announcement through this administration, you're going to know it's the right fit, or they wouldn't have done it. Yes,
So is there any possibility for all the little companies that's gonna come in with the new Volkswagen expansion, is there any way any of that could come to this county?
it's very possible. It's a good question, because Hamilton County, and especially in Chattanooga, they're about out of land.
And then my other
And we have
question,
partnered with them through the Development Authority, the Northwest Georgia Development Authority, and the Walker County Development Authority, and having active dialogue with them, and they're actually passing leads to us, because they would much rather see them in this region than to see these other vendors elsewhere. So we have got a real strong collaboration with the development folks in Hamilton County and also the city of Chattanooga. So it is within the realm of possibility.
so what about, is there a possibility, because I know all of Hamilton County schools then has those, is there any possibility that our schools here could get those computer labs and stuff that Volkswagen is going in the schools and setting up? That's giving these high school students and middle school students the advantage to possibly work there and work on their robots and stuff.
One thing that has already started, it started this year in our Walker County school system, is they partnered with Northwestern College in Rock Springs to allow selective high school seniors to be able to go and not only do dual enrollment on campus, but also start getting into the other technical trades. And so they started out with, 30 students this year? I think they're going to try to get up to 100 next year, where they're doing welding, heating and air, metalworking, all these other different trades, because that's a lot of what these companies are looking for, electronics, control panels, these type of things. And so Walker County School System sees that, and we are cheerleaders and supporting them for that launch program. County government doesn't interact to make those decisions. That's done through the superintendent, the school board. But we very much have supported them, have been at some of their meetings and collaborated with them. But that has already started down at Northwestern College this year, and they're going to be graduating their first class in May out of the Northwestern program.
Can I add something to that? With that program, they were hoping to have one mentor for each of those students, and like he said, there's 30 students. I'm one of the mentors, and there are 4 of us. There are a lot of people here in this room who I'm sure could give 1 hour a week to go down to Rock Spring and mentor a young person about what it's like to be in the business world and things like that. You know, so please consider doing that as a way to help out with our community
That's
too.
awesome. Thank you for doing it.
Thank you. Who's next? Yes, sir.
I got a question regarding your Thursday night meeting, 6 o'clock, in the open public hearing on the blighted homes. We have a lot of interest in that. Would it be appropriate, I'm not sure, to ask for a show of hands who might show up at that meeting?
Who has an interest of coming Thursday night to the public meeting at the commissioner's office? Or the Annex 3, excuse me.
No, we would come to office.
Come to office and they be locked at 6 o'clock. Usually by 5 they get locked. So yeah, and many of you, please come to that. And this is the first one, and then the second one will be the second Tuesday in March at 6 o'clock. So we need you to come and show your support for change. Yeah, Chuck?
How long do you think that meeting will actually last? 45 minutes total?
Yeah, we've got a short agenda of action items. There's only 2 action items on the agenda. And so the public meeting, I'd say we may be done with everything within an hour. It just depends on how many people speak, and, you know, we never know on a public hearing, but I'd estimate around an hour we'll probably be done.
About an hour and a half shorter than this.
Yes, much shorter than this one probably. Who's next?
Are y'all gonna post those whenever y'all get them? Like the ordinance, kinda like you did the animal, are y'all gonna
You
post
posted those today, right?
Those are already posted.
Are they on the-
They've been posted, if you'll just go to the
Okay.
homepage, walkercountyga.gov.
And
It's
find the
one of the
ordinance.
first texts that's there. We've got it on the homepage, but you can also find it in the government section under ordinances.
Okay.
The
Just
drafts
regular.
are available online. Of course, they're part of the agenda packet, which we always put on the website. It's
Yeah, the
Yeah,
agenda
I've
packet
seen
was
the
released
agenda, but I never
yesterday.
didn't see the.
But you gotta go to the website to get the
To find
full
the
agenda
ordinance.
packet, because it's probably, this one's probably 40 pages or so.
We broke this one up so the public hearings in its own agenda packet and the regular meetings in its own agenda packet.
Okay, all of
You can go to the website, and then also too, we video record all of those public meetings, and so we have a YouTube channel, so you can just Google search under YouTube, Walker County Government. I think we're approaching around 100 meetings that we've already had in the past on all different topics.
The link is on your handout.
Yeah,
So
good
you don't
point.
even have to write that down or try to remember it, it's on your handout.
Yes, sir.
Might add to that suggestion I had, if you plan to attend that meeting and have friends you can push a few arms, if you fill the room up, it'd be very important.
We need to hear from everybody. Well, thank you so much for coming tonight. We'll be around to still visit with you. But I think you see, we've got a great team that's working on your behalf, and we're moving Walker County forward. And thank you for staying involved. And when you see the naysayers on Facebook, jump in there and give them your viewpoint. Let them know we're moving forward. Thank you. Have a good night.